Welcome back to Rose Lane, everyone. I'm here to do the tutorial about how to put together this little accordion book that I did recently. I had many requests for people asking for how I did it. It really isn't that difficult, and I'm going to show you today what I did. To save time, I pre-cut everything, more or less, and inked everything. I got everything ready to go, just so that it wouldn't take that long. What I was using here was 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Paper that I used is not well, this one is. The paper that I used is not double-sided. It's not very stiff. I just cut it into 6-inch strips, folded it in half, and I like to ink on the inside as well as the outside. That way when it goes together, it really kind of, I don't know if you can see how well that sort of blends. I have found with things that I've done that when I ink afterwards, sometimes there's a spot I just can't seem to get into, and it leaves this sort of line that I can't get rid of. So my solution, for me at least, has been to ink inside along the edges. It doesn't have to be neat, it just has to be near the edge. And then I ink around the outside as well. So I've got these all ready to go. They're not the exact same pages, though they are, except for the cover, they are from the same pack that I used here, which was the Tattered and Worn pack that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby, oh my goodness, I guess almost 2 years ago. While I was visiting my sister in South Carolina. Hi, Marie. Anyway, so I have these all ready to go. This is what I chose for the cover. This came out of another pack. Trying to think of which one this one was. Something like Just You and Me or something like that, I think it was. I'll put it in the description below. I did the same thing here. This you can see, it's got kind of, so pick that up and maybe you can see it. It's got kind of a linen-y finish, so it's a little heavier. When I did this one was a paper thin like this, Hobby Lobby single 25-cent all the time paper. So I just lined it with a piece of cardstock is all I did. So when I would put the paper in, say this was the cover, we were using this as the cover, and this is actually the piece, I'll flip it over so it's not confusing. This is actually the piece for the spine. But when I put it in, I just put it in like this and glued it down to this piece. And then when I attached it, it was a firmer piece. That's all I really did to make the cover a little stiffer than the pages. So that's how you would do that if you're using a thin piece. In this case, I'm not. I took something that was a little thicker, so once this is glued together, it'll be pretty substantial on its own. So the first thing we want to do, let me just put these aside. Let me put that one aside. Put those over there. The first thing we want to do is we want to work on the spine so we can attach the pages. Again, not a very thick piece of paper. You can even use it with digitals that you print from kits, because you can cut out 6x6 or maybe a little smaller. You can even do it with 8.5 by 11 or an A1 or something like that as well, coming right off your printer. Instead of folding the pages like this, you would just attach 2 pieces of paper is all you would do. And it would give you the same effect. So what we're going to do, my paper here sort of has lines going this way. So I'm going to kind of use those. I've already pre-inked this. I've pre-inked this. And what I have here is I've written on here, which is upside down to you, I've written on here glue line. This is just an inch in from either end. And when I glue this, and I'm going to use my, you'll be very happy to know I opened my new Fabri-Tac, and I'm not going to struggle with that, I hope. I'm just going to glue inside this piece right here, okay? And then we're going to get our first piece on. So we'll just, nothing fancy, just glue to the line or just inside the line, that's fine. Get the glue on there, and then just position your paper over the top of that. I do like the tacky glue for holding things down, but when I have to line things up, I must be visually impaired a little bit or something, I don't know, but when I line things up, I tend to always think it looks good, and then I look and see I've gotten it not quite right. So anyway, so this is what we're going to do. Put that down. Got a little coming out. But you can see, having it all pre-inked, it looks, I think it's kind of thin. I don't know if you can really see that, but it looks like it's one piece. You'd hardly ever know. Okay, so we're going to leave that undone for a minute. We move this out of the way and move these back to another place. I'm going to pull out my scoreboard. I have a We Are Memory Keeper scoreboard. And we're going to put it here, and it doesn't have to line up any particular place because all you're doing, I should probably use this one just to be on the safe side. All you're doing is going to score that 1 inch, your glue line, and then every 1/2 inch, okay? So you're going to score it 1 inch, if I can see what I'm doing here, 1 inch. Should probably do it on the other side. Matter of fact, I think I will. Okay, we're going to do 1 inch, and then every 1/2 inch until we get to 1 inch on the end again. So it's a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then that inch on the end. So hopefully you can see that. Bring it up here and you can see, I hope. So it's an inch, and then every 1/2 inch in the middle. So let me put this away. I'll put this little thing away too because I have a different bone folder. Okay, this is what's going to go here on this part of your cover, this 1 inch piece, okay? So that's the way we're going to begin to fold it. So we're going to fold this way, and you can bone fold it as you go along, and then we're just going to go back and forth like an accordion. That one, that one. I'm making a lot of noise with this thing. Try to be quieter. That's better. Okay, and then another one. I'm going to start doing this from the other side, and maybe it'll go just a little bit quicker. Okay. Hear my husband and my brother-in-law walking around upstairs. So if you hear little creaks, that is them walking around upstairs. Okay, so we have, whoops, I went the wrong way on that one. So that one goes that way. I'm sorry, I'm pulling it in on myself. This way. That way, and down. Okay, I'm just going to kind of hold it in place and do that just a little bit more on each one so it doesn't fight me so much. Oh, sorry. And then there it is. That's your, you can see, that's your little accordion piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull these things back. A couple of these, well, I think it's just maybe this one and this particular one, has some writing on it. So you have to make sure, because I have already made that mistake in something else, that you try to put it in the right direction. So this is going to be my back cover, and I'm going to start from the back. I'm not sure what that was. We're going to start from the back, and what we're going to do is put this piece here, and then this piece is going to go in there. Did you see what I did? Okay, so we have the place where you didn't glue. You're going to take the inside of the back cover, and you're just going to put it in between those two pieces, between the decorative paper and the cardstock. Okay, like that. And I would go into the back first. Make sure it lines up as best as you can. Trimming and things can be done later. Get your glue and just go ahead and glue this piece down. Okay, make sure that's lined up. I'm going to see if I can turn it so you can see it. And then just press this piece down. Okay. And I'm losing glue. Get a wet one there and clean up my mess. Okay. Now you're going to take your glue again, and you're going to go to the middle, right down that center line. Glue along this seam where it touches as well, and then just put your glue, okay, right along the back there. And then you're going to flip this over. You're going to push that in as best as you can, not into the fold. I have opened this glue far too wide, but not completely into the fold, but close, because you want it to be able to bend. Get the wet ones are good for cleaning up, but they leave everything wet. So we've got that piece done on this side, and I would take my bone folder and just carefully, you don't have to press too hard, but push into that seam where the cardstock is and where you folded your paper over. And then flip it over to the other side. Flip this up and put a little bit of glue in here as well. Fold that down. Make sure I've got everything up off of here. These mats are wonderful. I love this mat. And that is the back so far. Actually, I think that just became, I did it wrong. See? Okay, but that's all right. That has now just become my front, but that's okay. Because actually what I had planned for the front would have covered up everything anyhow. So now we're going to take the other piece. This is now the back piece. That's going to go in here. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing here. We want to get the funny piece done and out of the way first. So again, we're going to open it up. We're going to slip it between the two. Try to get it lined up as best as you can. And like I said, we can trim all this later. I think I'm going to start working with my tacky glue a little bit. Okay, get that lined up, push that down, foam folders under here. And then again, same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of a glue there along that seam. And then fold it in to this. Now what I did in the other one, which I'll show you in one second, just let me get this down. Because sometimes things aren't cut perfect or folded perfectly, you run into, like, you could see here where there's a little less of a gap, and here there's a little bit more. In this book, if you look, let's see if I can hold it up a little bit. I just ran some washi tape. I just ran a little washi tape along in there, which was not a very good washi tape, so I actually ended up having to glue it down. But that's on each one of these pages. You could see a little, maybe a little better here too. And you could see I just ran the washi tape down, just a thin one, about, I don't know, 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch, and just kind of glued it into place so it would stay. So that's what we have there, and we can do that at the end. That's not a problem. Okay, so now we're going to start with these guys, and these are easy. So all you're going to do is, we can start at the back, which is fine, because it's a little easier since I'm right-handed. I take this and push it down so that, and I'm going to use my art glitter glue because it's a little, hopefully the hole is open. And I just kind of push it down so that I can get in here. Take your paper, try to make sure your pattern side is right side up. One piece over the top. Put it in as close as you can to that fold seam. I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. Okay, press it down. And then you're going to flip it over, open that up. And I think I'll do this part with the art glitter glue, and then I'll do the, I'm going to just go along in that seam a little bit with this. Okay. And then let's get, I should have probably put the Fabri-Tac on first. Because the art glitter glue is going to want to be dry by the time I get back to it, but that's okay. Nothing fancy. Just trying to hold the paper together. And then again, put that in as close as you can to that seam. Whoops, there we go. Press that down, press that down. I really try to get as close to the ends as possible because, particularly on this, my goal is to try to make it look like it was one piece of paper, not something that you necessarily folded over, at least at first glance. So we have that one. Flip it over, push this page down a little bit, make it flush so you can go along that seam again. And that's that page. Okay. Then we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing. And I really wish, I'm going to go back to this because I think it's just easier. I really wish that I knew how to edit, but I'm still learning this stuff. And my son promises me he will teach me eventually. We're trying to get me all set up with this stuff so that I'll learn what I'm supposed to be doing. So put that there. Open up the second page. Put that up against the seam as best as you can. Hopefully you're seeing. Press it in. Flip it over. And the same thing here. Okay. Press that, flip it over and press it into the seam a little bit. Bone folder. Press it out. Okay. Again, try to get into this little crevice. Flip that over. Get into that little crevice. And you're good there. Okay, and we have 2 more to go. Just want to make sure this is still recording. Hang on a minute. It looks like it is. I hope. Okay. And we're going to do the next one. Flip that one to the back there. Okay. We're going to put a little glue on here. Open it up. Put that into the crease. Line it up as best as you can. I think I'm a little too far in there. Okay. Put that one over. Press it down again. As best as you can. Again, I hope you're being able to see this. A little glue. A little glue. Whoops, sorry about that. I'm just going to do it this way. Flip that back. Now, I started experimenting with this a little bit, doing it with just printed digitals. Like I said before, you can do it. You would have to glue all your edges. You would have to make your half, you know, your fold first and then put it on, or put on 2 pieces and then it would get a little tricky. But I did start playing with it. I'll pull that out here. I did start playing with it a little bit. These are, put that over there for a quick second. This is, I think this was just about 8 inches, maybe a little under or a little over. There's my little tab for the inside. And these were, well, this one was, and this one was, and I think this one was freebies from Artie Mays. And then these 2 pieces are some of her kind of, you know, brocadey looking papers from 1 or 2 other kits. I'd have to figure out what they are. So I started doing it sort of like almost like a TN size, and doing it there with that as well. So that's another experiment, but it can be done. I just cut this size from the middle, more or less, of the page, and then folded it in half. That's the size it gave me, so that's the size I did. And it's about a TN size. I think this is probably about 4.5 inches, and it's just about 8. So, and again, it's just the 4 pages inside and then the covers. And I'm working on this cover over here. I have to put the acetate and stuff in, but we're going to do that and put a little tag in the pocket in the front of this. But it can be done in other sizes, and it can be done with digital pages. You don't have to have the I gotta find the paper I was on. 12 by 12. You don't have to have scrapbook paper. You can do it with your digitals as well. And of course you could do it 6 by 6 if you wanted. You would just have to glue 2 pieces because you wouldn't be able to fold it. You can do them smaller if you wanted. Okay, so now this one, I'm going to take that. We're going to put that into the seam as best as we can. Lining up the edges more or less. And like I said, you can put another piece of scrap paper, you can put washi, you could put almost anything. Maybe lace or a thin fabric, a muslin, sari silk, anything like that. You can put that kind of stuff down these center lines if you wanted to do that as well. So put in my little thin line. I think I cut this hole just a little too big in this new bottle, so I'm trying not to encourage it too much if I can help it. So put this one in here, and I just want to go back because I feel like, no, it didn't. All right, I'll just pick that up because I'm not liking where that one was. A little bit better there. Okay. Press that down. Okay, I'm going to stand this up. Try to make it flush so I'm not, I think I'm going to need a little more glue in there. So Art Glitter Glue to the rescue. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, everybody seems to be down. Okay, so it was pretty much just that easy. We're going to take this now. I'm going to try to lay it flat. And we're going to put this on. I know I've got a big glob in here, so I'm going to, it's going to ooze out anyway. Okay. And put that right there. So I hope that was easy enough to follow along on. You might want to, you know, pause it every here and there and play catch up. But that is essentially, let me just clean this up and make sure there's nothing on fabric tack cobwebs all over the place. Okay. And that is essentially that. Get this one here. No, I think I'm going to be okay if I just press it a little more. So there's the cover. The inside cover, first page, second page, third page, fourth page, the back cover, and the outside back cover. And that's what we have. And it is upside down after I told you not to do it. Or up, right side up. Okay, we'll do it this way. First page, second page, third page, fourth page, last page, inside back cover, and then the outside back cover. And that is how you put together the accordion pages. And I'm seeing that I'm not quite glued here. So again, we're going to come over here and fix it. And that essentially is all there is to it. And like I said, it's pretty adaptable. You can make it out of all kinds of papers. You can make it maybe not a bigger square so much. You could if maybe you had some wallpaper or something like a large piece of something. Sometimes you can even get a pretty decent quality wrapping paper. That could work, and you could make it bigger if you wanted to, or you can make travel notebooks or something like that. So that is how this was made. This will be the next project. The next thing we're going to do is I'll come back and we'll start decorating this. What I've pulled out for this so far is Thistles and Wings by Kelly's Crafts. I also have some of Artie Mae's butterfly specimens and some dragonfly stuff. Tracy at I Love Junk Journals. I have some of her stuff in here, going in here as well. So you can see how you can take almost anything. There's so many kits out there, how you could take almost anything and you can sort of mix and match from one kit to another. So we're going to come back in another video or two. It just depends. We'll see how long it takes, and we'll decorate this little guy and we'll go from there. But in the meantime, thank you again for dropping by Rose Lane. Thank you to all the subscribers. I am thrilled to have you here, and I'll be thrilled to have you back. And thank you to just everybody. Thank you to Angela for sending all of you guys over here and supporting me the way she does. I hope to see you again soon. I hope before the end of the week I'll be ready to get this new video up so that we can get this decorated, and we'll move on from there. And then another video I will do after that, after we decorate this one, will be a little video on how to do this particular kind of ribbon embroidery, and I'm going to see if I can come up with a couple of other little flower types or something that aren't going to be too difficult, because this is all done on top of the fabric. It doesn't go through the fabric, except for the thread that you use to hold it down. So in any case, that'll be the next thing, and we'll work on finishing this up and doing a little something about this, and I don't know, we'll see where we go from there. But in the meantime, have a blessed day, everybody. Take care, and thanks for dropping by. Bye-bye.